Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. It's week 2 of the NFL preseason, and we are talking right now with Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com, a guy who's looked at almost 30 NFL preseason professionally. Right now, we're going to get his thoughts on Atlanta at the Jets. Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. When you started in this industry almost 30 years ago professionally, did people bet the NFL preseason like they do now?
Definitely, and especially I would say around the early 90s is when I really started to perfect my techniques. And to be honest with you, I used to really get a higher percentage of my clients in the preseason than we are now. I'm not sure why. I think it's a big myth when people say that you can't win in preseason football, but you definitely can.
Well, Joe Duffy's final picks, of course, for week 2 will be at his website, offshoreinsiders.com. Right now, we're going to get his early thoughts on Atlanta at the Jets. Now, this line I saw opened at Atlanta +2. Now it's moved significantly to Pick'em or Atlanta -1, and there's no surprise why that would be, right? Right now, basically, the Jets are a mess. I don't think you need any advanced metrics to figure out why people would be leaning towards Atlanta here. And Atlanta has some positives. TJ Yates playing pretty well. The defense looking pretty good, and with Quinn as the head coach, probably going to be at least as effective, if not better, in week 2. The Jets are a complete mess. I think I would have liked Atlanta at +2, and I think at Pick'em, I'd still lean Atlanta. Joe Duffy, is there any reason to expect an improvement from the Jets here?
Well, the truth is as far as some of my most reliable sources where I get playing time, expected playing time, it doesn't look like either one of the coaches have come out and been all that specific what the rotation is at the time that we do record this. But I'm going to have to disagree with you. A couple of my metrics, it does look like it's an overwhelming sharp versus square play. I know that according to one of the sources, both offshore and in Vegas, 94% of the public is betting on Atlanta. And, that's usually going against the public is pretty profitable. A couple of the contacts I use for my outlaw sources say it's not quite as overwhelming as far as the corner bookie is concerned, but they're pretty darn good giving me sharp and square information. And they're saying that, yeah, it does look like the sharps are betting the Jets, the squares are definitely betting Atlanta. But keep in mind what you alluded to, the situations are reversed. Remember, I talked about last week how there's a theory. It's much like the poster child for this is the NBA zigzag, where somebody comes up with a general theory that's not totally true, but if you dig a little deeper, you find out that there are kind of some sub-theories. I know people love betting first-year head coaches in their first game. What I found out is that you want to bet on a first-year NFL head coach. You guys never coached at the NFL before, but especially in his first home game. Well, these are 2 first-year NFL coaches. Dan Quinn got his win at home, so the pressure is off. Todd Bowles got blown out on the road. Now he's coming home. And, keep in mind that last week when they were blown out, the whole ridiculous thing with Geno Smith that happened, about 48 hours before kickoff, and it was a big distraction. But at least this week, Ryan Fitzpatrick has had a chance to work with the first team. I think there's going to be a lot more sense of urgency for the Jets than there will be Atlanta, and the fact that the contrarian information says the Jets. For the purposes of this video, I think I'm going to go with the Jets.
Vintage Joe Duffy analysis on this game. Totally understandable why the public would be all over Atlanta. Right now, the Jets +1 is one of the market-wide numbers. So, Joe Duffy, do you expect this line to move back in favor of the Jets by kickoff?
It could get worse. One of the golden rules I've heard another guy used to do some of those infomercials on TV, and he was so correct that, he said that usually if you make the line 2 weeks before the game, it's a little more accurate because the public completely overreacts. Well, the reason that the sharps do so well in the preseason is because we love to take advantage of uncertainty. The odds makers are dealing with uncertainty, but the public, the only certainty in their mind is what they saw the week before. So the public is going to overreact, but they're especially going to overreact in the preseason. And of course, based on last week, the Jets would seemingly be a lock, but that's based on, I think, really a straw man argument, or just you're putting too much weight in what happened last week, and in reality, the sense of urgency flips because of what happened last week.
There you go. Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. We bow down to you. His official recommendation for the Atlanta Jets game is the Jets currently +1 is one of the market-wide numbers. We'll see where this line closes. Joe Duffy's picks, of course, can be found at OffshoreInsiders.com. His NFL Week 2 picks and his daily NBA picks, MLB picks for as long as MLB is going. Thanks so much, Joe.
And daily NBA picks, but not today.
And daily NBA picks as well. Thanks, Joe.